everybody. So I'm doing another one of these scenic videos. This happens to be the Mississippi River behind me, but the topic of this video is not going to be rivers, it is going to be Iran. So the sanctions package bill that was signed yesterday by Trump, and which passed the Congress overwhelmingly with barely any dissenters, included provisions that sanctioned Iran. So although the media was primarily about the Russian sanctions component, perhaps just as significantly, there was also a ramping up of the sanction regime vis-a-vis Iran. Now, the fact that Democrats and Republicans could come together to support sanctioning both Iran and Russia, with North Korea thrown in as an added bonus, kind of speaks to this coalescence of neoconservatives and liberals and Democrats in recent years, partially as a response to the ideological scrambling brought about by Trump. But the Iran aspect of this bill was really significant because it could very plainly jeopardize the continuation of the Iran nuclear deal. Now, the Iran nuclear deal was probably Obama's premier foreign policy achievement, if not his premier achievement overall, but definitely in the foreign policy arena it was. And the bill serves to jeopardize that agreement. And just last night, Iran's foreign ministry declared that the US is now in violation of the Iran nuclear agreement. And that's just incredibly ironic because, again, this bill passed with overwhelming bipartisan support. Not one Democrat, not a sole solitary Democrat in the entire House of Representatives voted against the sanctions package bill. So Tulsi Gabbard didn't vote against it, Barbara Lee didn't vote against it, Keith Ellison didn't vote against it. Name any of your favorite progressive Democrats, they did not vote against this bill in the House. Now, Bernie Sanders did vote against it in the Senate, and he explicitly raised concerns about how the bill could impact the Iran deal. So just days after the bill was passed and hours after it was signed by Trump, it turns out that Bernie Sanders' warnings were correct. Now, my question is, where was the discussion of this prospect? Meaning, where was the discussion of how this sanctions bill could impact the Iran deal prior to it being passed? All I heard in what I heard about the sanctions bill, all I heard being discussed was what it portended with regard to Trump and Russia. I mean, that's so utterly dominant in the media discussion and in the political class that you can barely bring up any other topics and it inevitably gets drowned out. Now, Bernie Sanders did, again, vocalize his concerns about this component of the bill, but it didn't get that much attention. And for Democrats to just, in unison, with no dissension, virtually, to just sabotage Barack Obama's premier foreign policy accomplishment, it's just staggering. You know, the Iran deal was the result of painstaking negotiations led by John Kerry and Obama. And Obama incurred real political risk by undertaking that endeavor. I mean, you'll remember, Benjamin Netanyahu came and gave an address to a joint session of Congress in which he very fulsomely denounced Obama's Iran policy and even invoked the specter of the Holocaust to try to warn legislators against backing it. I mean, that's serious risk to take on Obama's part. And as far as we can tell, the risk actually yielded a lot of benefit. Even the Trump administration, despite Trump's kind of scattershot bellicose rhetoric about Iran, has preserved it up until this point. Now, Trump may well be looking for an in to unravel the deal in the future, but at least up until now, it's been preserved. So for Democrats to just kind of toss that all aside because they want to score short-term points on Trump with regard to Russia. I mean, have you ever heard of a more crude example of just political myopia? Because I don't think I have. I'm struggling to recollect one. So now the prospect of war or some kind of military conflict with Iran has greatly increased, and Democrats have left it up to Trump to navigate that very tense diplomatic terrain. And my suspicion is that Trump won't do a very diplomatic job at that. And, you know, people get on my case about dwelling on this Russia story, but I mean, I didn't mention any of the substance of the Russia story in this video or in the accompanying Medium article, which you can read in the description box. But look at the adverse consequences of this all-consuming Russia hysteria. It created a political climate whereby not a single Democrat in the House of Representatives voted against a bill which very plainly jeopardized Obama's premier foreign policy achievement. And it wasn't as if it was a mystery as to what effect this would have on the Iran deal. I mean, an earlier iteration of the bill came before the Senate in June, and Bernie Sanders also voted against it then, and he explicitly cited that his reason for voting against the bill was the potential impact on the Iran deal. Look at the warnings issued by the National American Iranian Council, which is one of the leading sources for information on Iranian American affairs. They explicitly said the same, that this bill very much jeopardizes the Iran deal. So why weren't any Democrats in Congress getting up and saying, maybe we should hold off a moment and contemplate whether this is prudent? I mean, leave aside the Russia aspect. Focus solely on the Iran element. I mean, there was more than enough reasons to vote against the bill alone. Yet the discussion about this was muted. It was dominated in the media and in Congress by the Trump-Russia psychodrama that is just endless and is corrupting people's critical faculties and their ability to view foreign policy issues through any prism other than potential Trump-Russia collusion. So it's grossly distortive, and that's a theme that I've been harping on for a long time, and unfortunately it's now been made manifest by the passage of this bill. So it's pretty disturbing and staggering, and I think this deserves a lot more attention. So that'll do it for now. Again, there's an accompanying Medium post, so click on that in the description box, and bye-bye.